Hi everyone, my name is Lisa and I am a travel nurse. I work in ICU and I am 50 years old and I am pretty deep in debt. So I'm going to go on a little journey about how I'm going to work to pay down my debt and how I will eventually be debt free. So I'm going to put this out there, so maybe this will help somebody else and you guys can go on this journey with me. I started getting really serious about tracking my expenses and trying to pay down my debt at the beginning of September of this year. So September 1st, 2025. At that total, I was in debt $379,385.93. Now, that includes all my credit cards, minus one bill. There's one credit card in there that I did a consolidation on, and they're taking out a little bit every pay period. So that's roughly about an extra $10,000, I think, that I'll have to pay. It's a credit card. With that, let's say almost $380,000 in debt. That includes credit cards, back taxes that I owe to state of Kansas. That does not include my taxes that I have yet to do for the past 3 years, which is a whole nother story. We'll end up getting to that when I go through that process. But it has 3 vehicles. So I have a 3500 Ram dually truck. It's a diesel. Should not have bought that, but I did. And then I have a Honda Ridgeline 22, and that one my youngest son has. He's making the payment, so he pays me, but it's still in my name. And then I have my oldest son's 23. He is also making his own vehicle payments, but he sends everything to me, and then I make that. So until it's paid off, I consider it mine because I'm still making the payment. That includes my house, a trailer that I'm paying off. What else does that include? Let's see. So my house, the trailer, the Ram, the Ridgeline, Honda CR-V, the credit cards, minus the $10,000-ish one, and the state of Kansas back balance that I guess I owe. So as of today, December 6th, 2025, I have paid down quite a bit, actually. I am $345,141.09 in debt. Now, I also didn't have any 401k, Roth IRA, health savings account, any of that stuff. I had taken out everything that I had previously had 3 years prior to move me from Reno, Nevada, to move my whole family from Reno, Nevada down to Mississippi to buy a house and move us. So that was the first time that I've ever bought a house. And that took everything that I had. Unfortunately, during that, I was working in the OR again. I worked on the weekends in the OR in Mississippi, and then I traveled during the week and did an OR travel nurse job. Well, right about the time I was starting to get caught up on everything, I fell through the attic and busted my shoulder and was out of work for 6 months. Mind you, during that time, I was trying to do a business. It was the first year I'd ever had a house. I was trying to do all the taxes, but I was away from home, so I didn't have all my stuff, and I got overwhelmed and was like, okay, taxes are going to be late for the first year ever. And then I fell through the attic. And then I kind of forgot about everything, and then I was too overwhelmed because I wasn't working, and that was a mess. So I never filed taxes. And then by the time I started working again, it was time to file taxes again, and I didn't have the money. I was severely in debt with credit cards. My kids were helping me out to pay the house bills. It was really rough, and so we all lived together in the same house, and so they helped a lot with stuff. I couldn't do a lot. I went into ICU because I couldn't do the OR anymore because I couldn't lift my arm and pick stuff up. I was just too weak. So I went into ICU. That's how I started traveling into ICU. So I did that, and I was like, okay, let me get caught up on stuff. Life happens. AC went out. I had to do that. So you name it, it happened. Unfortunately, in Mississippi, you just don't get paid that much to be a nurse. The cost of living in general is lower, but I live on the coast. So I am on the Gulf Coast, where it is more expensive to live. So I would work overtime as much as I could. I was working like 5 days a week. It was a lot. And then in November of 24, my mom passed. It was a tragic thing. I had to go back to Kansas. That was where I grew up for the most part, but I ended up there. Went back to Kansas, tried to deal with that stuff, came back, decided that life was too short, and I wanted to start traveling again. So we had the trailer, but it had been leaking. So we were gutting it, me and my kids were gutting it and everything, trying to redo it so I could live in that while I traveled. Well, then my dad died 3 months later. And that was a lot. But in between, after my mom died, I knew I was going to travel. I went ahead and I traded my youngest son's car in. I was on his loan, and it was not a very reliable car, and I knew I was going to travel. I wanted him to have a reliable car. I had the Honda Ridgeline. I needed something that would pull a trailer, and so I grabbed the dually, the Ram dually. Now, it's nice, very nice truck. With the upside down portion of my son's loan, it put me $90,000 in debt and a $1,600 payment a month. That is crazy. I did not need to do that. I honestly think that emotionally I just was not in a good spot and was not thinking clearly. But it's fine. We have the dually. My son took my Ridgeline over. He makes the payment on that. And then he will eventually pay me the difference. Like, he's making payments to me on the back pay of the upside down portion of his loan for his vehicle. But you name it, it's been one thing after another. So I am trying to get everything done. I just turned 50 in August. I have no savings. I am severely in debt. It is just me. I've been divorced for a long time, and I need to get things taken care of. So I have been buckling down. I've been traveling. I went to Colorado Springs first. I didn't really save anything. I couldn't work a lot of overtime or anything like that. And I didn't make as much as I thought I would, but I didn't really save anything either. I wasn't goal-oriented, trying to get bills taken care of. So it wasn't until September really that I decided to go ahead and do this. So I went ahead and I started working. Well, I did work extra back then, but I just wasn't really putting money towards bills or doing that stuff, and I wasn't being smart with my money. I spent a lot of my money. So I decided I needed to get this truck paid off. So that's where it started. So that's where most of my money started going down, was me trying to pay off the truck as fast as possible, which I've done a pretty good job. It is almost upside down. It's almost to where it's not upside down. I'm like maybe 5,000 more and I'll be under to where it's not upside down. So that's kind of where we're at for right now. I work night shift, so I am a night shift nurse, and I've never done YouTube before, so here we go. We're gonna do this, and I'm gonna let you guys come along this journey with me. It'll help me stay accountable, and when I work, because I work a lot of hours trying to get things done as fast as possible. Right now I'm in the process of trying to pay all the bills for the rest of this month and the beginning of next month, because I'm going to go home for 10 days. I'm going to go to Mississippi and see my oldest son at the house and have Christmas with him, and then I'm going to drive to Kansas for a couple of days and see my youngest son, and then I'll come back here and start working again. For the most part, I work about 60 hours a week. Right now I'm trying to work a little extra, so because I am a travel nurse, so I don't get PTO. I have to pay my bills in advance, and I was going to trade that Ram truck in, but because of the consolidation thing that I thought was going to help, and they were supposed to consolidate all of the credit cards into one thing, my credit score plummeted. And once I realized how bad my credit score was, and I had already like thrown tons of money that I had had in savings onto it, and they had only taken one credit card and made a settlement on that, I was like, nope, that's it, I'm done. So I've already paid off 2 of the credit cards, but we'll eventually go through and I'll try and figure out how I can show the budget. But anyway, that's where we're at right now. I will start going through and showing you how much I get paid, what all my bills are for the week, and I'm going to try and do this on a weekly basis. And we'll just go from there. So welcome to Miles to Money. Because I'm a travel nurse, my whole goal is to try and get as much of this debt done as fast as possible. I'm going to try and use the Dave Ramsey program, where I'm already past step 1, where I've got $1,000 in my emergency fund, and we're just working on baby step 2 to pay off all the debt. But we will slowly go there, but I've already paid off 2 of the 5 credit cards that we had. Once I get all of that stuff kind of gone through, and we'll slowly do a little bit more to where we're going through my budget and stuff like that, which probably I'll do more during my break. We'll go through and we'll talk about everything. So for right now, I'm going to try and figure out how to move all this stuff over, because I do not know how it works. I may have to grab my phone and just show you the Excel for now, but I know that there's got to be a way to combine it. I just don't know how to do it yet. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. But hopefully you guys will enjoy going on this journey with me, and it'll help me stay accountable and maybe help somebody else out.